So how do we prepare for elicitation? So we need to understand the scope of elicitation activity, what we can do, select appropriate technique, and plan for supporting material and resources. So we know we require needs, business needs, and stakeholder engagement approach. Correct. And then the output is we will come out with an activity plan that will list how the logistics will take place, what will be the scope of the elicitation activity, what are the selected techniques that we will use in the elicitation while we conduct the elicitation activity, and then the supporting material required like whiteboard, sketch marks, sticky notes, projector, or anything else. So all of that.
Mhm.
So there are certain elements that require understanding. You need to understand the scope because if you don't know the scope, you will try to elicit in all directions. So you need to define the scopes under which you will do the elicitation part. Then you need to select the technique. How will you do the elicitation? Will you do it through focus groups? You will perform interview. You will do brainstorming sessions, or you will use certain models. You will use prototypes. What will you do? Set up logistics. So it depends on project context. You might require to book some meeting rooms early. So you might need to set up that logistic. And you need to secure supporting material, which means that if there are sticky notes which are required for brainstorming, you might require chart, what do you call it, flip chart, whiteboard marker, projector, maybe video conferencing room because you have other candidates who are overseas, they want to get connected. And then we need to prepare stakeholders, which means we, of course, will be sending out the meeting invites so that they can join.
Mhm.
Right. So that's what is straightforward. Guidelines and tools. So BA approach. So we need to know what the BA approach is because this will provide us a general strategy to be used as a guide. So we have already lined up in BA approach how we are going to do the elicitation. So that is why it is our input, BA approach. I mean, basically the input is your business need and stakeholder engagement approach. But the technique, sorry, guidelines and tools, we know business analysis approach will be used. Then we have business objectives. In order to provide some direction towards future state, uh, I mean, we need to know the direction towards future state in order to elicit results around business objectives so that we have some direction around what we are asking from stakeholders. Existing business analysis provides better understanding of the scope. So there is some business analysis that has already been done. So we are talking about using the existing business analysis documents. If we can use them, then we can better understand the scope and we would be in a better position to do the elicitation. Potential value. So we also should understand the value to be realized. So we need to understand what are the benefits that we will get once we achieve or we fulfill that business need. Because if you understand the value, then a lot of elicitation will be guided around that value. You will ask more pertinent questions if you have a view upon this. There are more techniques for the preparation of our elicitation. So you would have a stakeholder list. So you of course want that list, map and personas. So stakeholder list and map in order to have in order to send meeting invite, you need the list who need to be engaged. And then personas, you would want to discuss around various personas, what the requirements could be there. Brainstorming, of course, it's a technique that you would apply in that session. Mind mapping is for the analysis, but it also helps in elicitation. So if you're sitting with the stakeholders, you might want to create some mind maps for them to visualize various requirement options. Document analysis, you are already analyzing some of the documents that are there. Okay. Could be on your SharePoint or could be on Confluence or any other repository. Data mining, You have actually pulled some data from databases, from tables, and you are trying to find out some patterns so that you can show it to business to help them for the elicitation. Estimation is also there. There are some estimation techniques in order to get at the requirements, wherein planning poker is one. But it depends. I mean, so see, these techniques are like very, I would say, there is no hard and fast rule that you have to use only that technique. Maybe to prepare for elicitation, you can use some other technique also. So there is a list of techniques where 50 techniques are there. If you think you can creatively use some other technique, you can certainly do that.
Okay.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
Interviews, you can conduct one-to-one interviews. Risk analysis and management, you can certainly do the analysis of risk and management. You can manage those risks. What is the mitigation plan? So that is also a technique in order to elicit the requirements from stakeholders. Okay, so we have some information here. Who needs to be consulted? Identify existing business analysis information by brainstorming, select elicitation technique by mind mapping. So mind mapping not necessarily will help you in elicitation technique selection. It can also help you. Okay, yeah, that this is a very subtle difference. Mind mapping is being used in prepare for elicitation. However, in conduct the elicitation, that can again be used. So while you're conducting, you can help the stakeholders in various ways. So this we are talking about preparing for elicitation. Document analysis, you can identify some supporting material. You can identify information which is a strong candidate for further investigation. You can estimate time, effort, and cost, and identify concerns through interviews. Identify and assess risk while you are preparing for this. So who need to be involved? Domain SME, project manager, and sponsor for elicitation.
Okay.
Now, why do we need domain SME? They will provide supporting material and guidance. Why do we need project manager? They will ensure that appropriate people and resources are available. Why do we need a sponsor? Because he will approve or deny a planned elicitation event. So there might be some cost involved with this elicitation, maybe a requirement workshop, which requires booking in some larger place, but it might not be possible. I mean, because funding is not there, so this person is important.
Right. Okay.
You might have to make alternative investments.